What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in the heart of Transylvania, up in the mountains near the city of Cluj, because I've been given the opportunity by QJ Romania to test one of their coolest and latest bikes, namely the QJMotor SRT450RX or Rally, depending on what market you're watching from. And the reason I was really looking forward to test this motorcycle is because this is QJMotor's answer to CFMoto's 450MT, which I've already tested last year and I was really impressed by, so I really want to see how this bike runs up against the 450MT. But contrary to CFMoto, QJMotor didn't just build another twin-cylinder 450, they threw in an insanely cool kit on this motorcycle. So clearly we are talking about an adventure off-roader, and you can sort of tell by its Dakar style design, 21-inch wheel up front, 18-inch wheel in the back, same as what you get on normal rally bikes. And from here on, we are talking about that insane kit, which I have mentioned earlier. Marzocchi suspensions, fully adjustable, both up front and in the back, Brembo brakes, Bosch electronics. Now, I'm not finished with the list. We are talking about a few other extras as well here. Let me see if I can list them. Starting from the top, adjustable windshield, TFT vertical dash, heated grips, heated seats, crash bars up front, crash bars in the back, which also serve as luggage support, a set of auxiliary lights. We do have a sturdy bash plate on the bottom as well as a center stand. It does come with two ride modes, normal and sport, and we are going to look at all the features that the bike comes with straight from the saddle. And the most insane detail, I believe, is that they also include the top case as well as the side panniers into the price of the motorcycle, including the lining as well as the locks, which if you do have some adventure experience, know that are really expensive accessories. All that at the insane price of 6,600 euros, which is insanely impressive. At least that's the package you get here in Romania. I know it's the same in the UK. I'm not sure about other places, but even if you don't have that included, maybe it's something you can negotiate with your dealer in whichever country you're buying the bike from. But if you are looking to get it with the three-piece set, maybe you should consider buying the motorcycle from Romania. Now, this bike is in the same category as the KTM 390 Adventure, Royal Enfield's Himalayan 450, even the upcoming brand new BMW 450 GS. But the most obvious competitor of this bike is the CFMoto 450MT. Not sure what the situation is globally, but CFMoto has seen a lot of success in Romania. The 450MT was the most sold motorcycle in 2025, but I'm pretty sure QJMotor is looking to dethrone them. And honestly, just by what I've seen so far, they have a really good shot at doing so. And there's also a good reason why I'm not including motorcycles like the Covey 450 Rally in this category. QJMotor themselves are already working on more rally-focused models designed to compete in that space as well. One example is the SRT500CX, which they've already showcased at different expos, but for now it still appears to be in the prototype phase. But rest assured, as soon as the bike becomes available, you'll see a full review of it here on the channel. So make sure to subscribe. So yeah, this bike is brand new. It had 1 kilometer on the dashboard when I took it from the dealer. Even though it's brand new, I took it out today. I want to see what it behaves like on road. If I get the chance and I find something gnarly here, I do want to take it off-road as well a bit, just to see what it feels like compared to the 450MT. I want to see how comfortable it is. I want to see what it's like standing up. I want to see what the suspension behaves like, what the brakes feel like, the Brembos, if the CST Adventure tires are any good when we leave the asphalt. So I want to find out if it can put its money where its headlight is. So stick around, because this very well may be your next motorcycle. I'm Nimrod, welcome to Ride with Nimrod. Let's hop on the bike and go for a ride. Before we jump on the bike, I briefly want to say a few words about QJMotor as a brand, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you do not know them. QJMotor comes from the company called, and I apologize for butchering this, Qingjiang Motor Company, which has been around in China since 1985. They are listed on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, and they have been acquired by Geely in the 2000s, Geely being one of the, if not the largest car manufacturer in China. They're also behind other brands such as Volvo, Polestar, as well as Lotus. So the reason I wanted to highlight that was to kind of let you know that it's not just like three guys in a garage coming up with the idea of starting a motorcycle brand. It is a large organization. They are coming to the market with a large palette of products, similar products to what you get here on the SRT450RX. And with that, I do want to thank QJ Romania for actually trusting me with this brand new 450 bike. I will be testing a lot more of their products in the future. If you do want to see those reviews, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But enough talking, let's get on the bike and go for a ride. Right, so before doing anything meaningful here, I want to show you a couple of interesting things. On the one hand, the bike has 1 kilometer on its odometer. The other thing is I do want to connect it straight up to, well, I want to connect my phone. Carbit Ride, that's the app. And you got a long press, I believe, the enter button. Yep, add device, this is where we'll go. So we are gonna try to link it, join Wi-Fi network, yep, Bluetooth C3DF. This is something you're gonna do one time and you're done. Yeah, connect everything. And with that we're connected and you can see the map on the vertical screen, navigation, and then we do have a phone mirroring option as well. And we select go. Okay, I'm not a fan of that, so we are going to turn off the sound. Voice, there we go. You can still see it, that's more important for anyone on a motorcycle. Still, you know, I'd be happier just having a CarPlay unit up here and then just have my usual speed and everything else on my dashboard. Because obviously if I have my map on here, then I don't have the rest of the stuff. Yep, there you go, and then I can select Waze as well. Looks a bit clunky, but the idea is that you can actually screen everything. Yeah, you press the lock, and with that I think you're good to go. Nice top case. We haven't mounted the side cases, because I do want to go off-road a bit. I don't want to force it. A bike with 1 kilometer. But yeah, this is pretty much what I wanted. You can see the white version up there. This is the one I'm taking, the red one. And then there is this black gray version as well. And this one does have the cases. So it does come with the full set. I just want to show you guys this just because I'm not going to have it on the bike. And I just wanted you guys to see it. I've already kind of tested the cases as well, how sturdy they are on the 900. I think that's the biggest selling point, that's included in the price of the bike. And in Romania, that price being 6,600 euros with value-added tax. That's a pretty insane price. So let's head out. Ooh, that's an awfully nice sounding bike. Right, so we're doing the very first kilometers on this bike. As I said, as soon as I picked it up, connected my phone, so we have the navigation straight up on the dashboard. The bike is behaving so far insanely good, but I haven't taken it up to higher speeds. But the idea is that I do want to take it on road, and I do want to find some sections where I can take it off-road as well, because it is an adventure off-roader compared to the 900, which I tested a few days ago. I do have to mention that the bike already feels a lot more solid, which I even said in that video that I do not like to use that term because it's overused by AI, but that is the word that best describes the bike, this one as well, because it actually feels more solid than the 900. It feels more quality, I suppose, like it's better quality. And I'm already testing, like in town as I'm talking. Occasionally I'm looking at the camera and stuff. I have to do some late braking and I'm already feeling those Brembos kicking in. So as the very first impression in the very first kilometers of the bike's life, I'm already insanely impressed. It's already a lot better than what I expected. So I'm curious if it will hold up. Right now, as I said, the engine, the bike itself is brand new. So I'm trying to do the first few kilometers. I'll do them off camera so I can do them at low speeds and kind of wear the tires off a bit, that silicone layer that's on there, to make sure it doesn't slip out from under me and the twisties. But so far, man, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, for the amount of money that you get this for, I'm not sure how much it is in the UK. I'm not even sure if these are sold at the moment in the US, considering the whole tariff situation there between the US and China. But in the UK, I believe it costs 5,500 pounds, whereas in Romania this is being sold for 6,600 euros with value-added tax. So without value-added tax, the price is even lower than that. So if you can write it off on your company, if you can justify using this as your daily driver, then it actually sounds good, man. I don't really want to force it again. First few kilometers, but it's got oomph. It wants to go,
And yeah, right now I'm doing 110k an hour, 110 to 60 miles an hour. I'm already feeling some of the wind hitting me. It does have protection, obviously, but it's not as good as on one of the bigger bikes, so don't expect miracles. Really, with one of these smaller adventure bikes in general, I'm not talking just about this one, you got to manage your expectations. You're getting a bike that's a lot more capable off-road because it is lightweight, but you are making a bigger compromise on asphalt for that reason. But it's not like you can't still hop on the bike and ride down to Albania, ride the coast there, or Italy. These things are doing a really awesome job. So alright, so to get where I need to get, I do have to take a few kilometers, miles on the freeway, sorry, not the freeway, the highway, the motorway, depending on where you're watching from. So that'll give us the opportunity to test what the bike does behave like at highway speeds. In case you are looking to take this bike, you know, on longer trips where you even have to ride on highways, it's not something I'd recommend, honestly. I mean, for that, you'd obviously get one of the bigger bikes, but if you still want the off-road capability and still be able to ride on road, it's not like the bike can't handle highway speeds, right? The idea is that probably if you're going to be riding a lot more at highway speeds, you'd probably want to get one of the bigger screens, windshields, just for a bit more adequate protection from the wind. But otherwise, I think the bike will behave, you know, pretty neatly. It does feel like it. It's a twin cylinder, and the vibration shouldn't be as bad as on something like the KTM 390 Adventure or the Royal Enfield, because those are mono-cylinder bikes, engines. So this should behave more like the CFMoto 450MT, which I was pleased with, albeit I haven't ridden it on the highway, but we'll test the acceleration here a bit as well. And we are going uphill, by the way, on this section of highway. So let's see. 120 an hour. I don't know what it sounds like in the helmet right now, but with this speed the bike is handling it really well. There's no vibrations whatsoever coming from the bike, from the engine itself. I don't know if it's because it's brand new and everything is balanced super well. The 21-inch front wheels, you really can't feel that you're on such big wheels. I'm under 30. This is like proper highway speeds. That's pretty mental if you ask me. I wonder what it would behave like, you know. One thing that you want to find out if you want to take the misses as well as the luggages, then you do have to test it yourself. Obviously, do take the bike out. Either way, I do recommend testing it yourself, because I believe you will be impressed with how capable this bike is. I'm telling you, this feels a lot more stable than the 900. It is insane. I can already tell you up front that this motorcycle, this brand and this model will see a lot of success. Obviously what I'm lacking on here is a cruise control, so bear in mind if you want to do long trips, it doesn't have the cruise control. You can retrofit something, I guess, a bit more manual, but the idea is that that doesn't come from the factory on this thing. All the other things it comes with, it's insane. So you're essentially getting an off-road adventure bike that's capable to deal with highway speeds as well. Right, so I wanted to show you guys that with the Carbit Ride app that they have their proprietary navigation system, which I've been using and I will use throughout the rest of the day. But the same app also gives you the screen mirroring option, which allows you to actually then use Google Maps, Waze, or whichever application you are using on your phone. You can watch YouTube on here if you really want to, or Netflix while you're riding. I wouldn't really recommend it, but obviously if then you need a sound, you can connect your Cardo or any communications unit to the bike as well, and then you'll hear the audio through there. Maybe just want to have a podcast running on there. But right now, obviously, we have Google Maps because I'm not completely familiar with the area. This is a very beautiful place. A lot of people that live in Cluj do come out here on the weekends, and I just do want to see it because we are heading into the mountains, which is beautiful. But honestly, if I'd be the owner of this motorcycle, if I'd buy myself one of these, which is so far from what this motorcycle has shown me, is not excluded at all. Like, the package you are getting for this amount of money is absolutely insane, to say the least. And I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sell you this bike. I have zero advantage in overselling the bike or anything like that. It's a simple reality. The package is insane, especially with the cases. Like if you're in a market like the UK, I believe, or here in Romania, when you buy the bike for 6,600 euros, the supports, the crash bars, the cases, side case, panniers, top case, with lining, locks, everything is included in the price. And if you have any experience in riding adventure bikes, you know that these accessories all cost an insane amount of money. And briefly, I do want to touch up on the personal experience that I've had with Husqvarna KTM, that being my own bike. When I got my top case, it was the only thing I needed before I left for Switzerland, and to my disappointment, when it arrived, it came without lining as well as the lock. So no lock, no lining, and it did cost me 600 euros as well as 100 euros for the support itself, just to mount it. So I ended up leaving for Switzerland with a little bag in my top case without being able to lock it, so that was fun. You have no idea how big of an advantage this is. Take CFMoto, its biggest competitor, for example. You want to buy the top case along with the panniers, 1,000 euros plus, 1,200 euros on top of the price of the bike. Here, if you're paying 6,600 euros with value-added tax, with the cases included, I believe 5,500 pounds in the UK. Coming back to the whole navigation situation, if this was my personal bike, then I'd probably buy a separate CarPlay unit to connect to actually have navigation, just to use the bike's TFT as simple dashboard, where I have all the details that you normally have: speed, RPM, fuel level. Ouch. It actually wasn't as bad. So we have a few potholes here, and I'm testing the bike here now. It wasn't that bad. The size of the 21-inch wheel is a giant positive, especially on these roads. But yes, again, using the dash as a dashboard, and then on top of that, mounting onto that crossbar, I'd mount a CarPlay unit like CarPride, Owochi, Chiji, whichever, just one of the cheap ones, because that instantly connects to my phone, or my phone connects instantly to the unit as soon as you turn on the bike. Ow. I think that would be the simplest solution. There's a good reason why they actually included a crossbar up there, because the size of the screen is not giant, especially if you're mirroring your iPhone, which has a vertical screen to begin with, meaning that it's even more vertical, it's thinner on the TFT of the SRT450. But it's so cool that it has that. It's insane. Now that I braked a bit, I do want to talk about the Brembos briefly, because they do feel premium. It does feel premium, as well as the suspensions, the Marzocchis. The dive really isn't as bad as what I'd get on my Husqvarna, albeit that the suspension there is a bit taller, I believe, as well as thicker. But as I'm braking, I'm now on second gear, and I'm doing twisties on a narrow road, and the handling is just superb. We are lacking the quick shifter, but you don't really need one on an off-road bike. But the brakes do feel premium. The bike, as I said, is brand new, so even the brake pads probably have that first layer of coating that needs to come off. Now it's already super strong. There you go. And the ABS is, I believe, from Bosch, if I'm not mistaken. As I said, I don't really want to force the engine, just because we're in the first. few kilometers. By the end of the day, by the time I take this back, it'll have like 100 kilometers on the odometer. It's still not a lot. Woohoo! Look at that view. Oh, even at lower RPMs, uphill. The bike does have power. It does not feel like a 450. Surprisingly. The fact that it is A2 compliant means a lot of young guys will be, or girls, will be buying this bike. And honestly, just from the way it feels and how it's behaving in the first few kilometers, I can already guarantee you're gonna see a lot of these bikes on the road, especially the 450s. You're gonna be seeing a lot of these, whether you like it or not. But I'm so glad to see, at least, even if you don't like the bikes, be happy that QJMotor is bringing some serious competition onto the small displacement adventure scene, the off-roader scene especially, because it will force some of the other brands, we're talking Japanese, European bikes, as well as the Chinese ones, to step up their game properly. Because I'd be worried. I was already saying that with the CFMoto, that if I was KTM or BMW or whichever, I'd be worried. Well, at this point, even CFMoto should be worried. Like, with QJMotor being on the market, it's insane. And I think I've mentioned in the intro as well by now that you know, they're not a small name. They are owned predominantly by Geely. They are their biggest stakeholder. These guys are not no name. The only reason you probably don't know them is because they're not involved in racing yet. That doesn't mean that they won't in the future. CFMoto started off similarly, and now they are in MotoGP, Superbike, and I believe in Superbike. I don't want to give the wrong info here, but they are involved in racing. Oh yeah, and especially a lot of the off-road races, one of the most known ones being Red Bull Romaniacs throughout the world, which now has an adventure category. Probably we'll be seeing a lot of these QJMoto bikes, especially the 450, in said adventure categories. The negative that I have, I enjoy the fact that I have the option to connect my phone and have the screen mirroring, but it is a bit fiddly having to long press the button to actually have the thing start up to connect. The buttons, the keys on here, you only have a down button and an enter button. So anything you want to do in the menu, if you want to go up, you first have to scroll all the way to the bottom, then it'll jump back to the top. Not a deal breaker, but it is annoying. And if I were using it on a day-to-day basis, maybe you're not really accessing the menu that often, to be fair. You've got two ride modes, it's normal and sport. Right now I'm in normal and I do not feel the need for being in sport mode. We'll see a bit later on, and when we're doing a bit of off-roading. The CST tires as well. I thought they'll be a bit more slippery, but so far, you know, on tarmac as well as dusty tarmac, they've done a really awesome job. The other negative I can think of here is having the turn signals built into the handguards. It is pretty neat. Like, it does look good because it's fairly unusual. You don't see that on a lot of bikes. So if you're gonna be using this on the road like 80% of the time, I think you'll be fine. Even off-road, you shouldn't have problems unless you're gonna crash the bike. Like, if you are gonna drop the bike, I think, you know, they'll still be okay. But then, you know, if you're gonna have a more serious crash, those are gonna break. I brought this up, I've mentioned this to the dealer, to the distributor actually, and they said, you know, it's not a problem, it's not an expensive part, and they have those in stock all the time. So whoever crashes and wants to change those, you know, you can change that. But I'm saying that as a negative, because if you do want to go off-road and if you are going to be riding a lot in the forest, they're not exactly bark busters. You are going to then need, probably either way you'd switch them out, probably to a metallic, something that will give you adequate protection here for the clutch lever as well as the brake. Mental. All right, we've seen this cool spot. Let's try to find a place where we can ride a bit off-road. Yep, I'm not forced in the back. Man, just being up here on a bike like this is such an amazing experience. Absolutely beautiful. So right now I'm riding at 70k an hour. That's roughly like 50 or 45 miles an hour if I'm not mistaken. Wind protection is not bothering me whatsoever. The bike is super balanced. I'm going downhill. You know, it's doing its thing. It's almost like it's riding itself without me. I for one am happy with it. Like I for one am super impressed with what it can do. Bro, we are really high up here. We're gonna try the road ahead of us. So we're just gonna go slowly first, see if we can get on an open field where there's no, you know, weekend houses and stuff. But first time off-road on the bike. And it already is feeling nice. Like the standing position is something I'm happy with. Yup, you don't need to concentrate too much. You obviously don't want to fall into one of those ruts. There are houses here. Oh, this is pretty gnarly. Okay, that's going downhill. Oh, great. Fucking bear territory. This seems more like a hiking trail than anything else. But yeah, we're trying the bike on gnarly stuff. Giant rocks. Yep. Kind of looks like it's going into a forest. Not something I'm looking to do right now because I can't film with the drone there. I really want to get a few shots. So let's get up on the pegs. This should be good enough. Alrighty. So let's see what we can do in the forest. So yeah, for, you know, this is a pretty gnarly forest trail. Some ruts here, as well as some pretty giant rocks. And the one thing I definitely don't want to do is end up in the ditch next to me. Well, the bike's good. It is jumping, so suspension feels nice. Let's see rear brake. Rear brake locks up if it needs to. I think I did shut off the ABS as far as I'm aware. Come on, like it's behaving like an enduro bike. It's super light. So I, for one, am happy with this so far. That is one good looking bike if you ask me. Looks properly, I don't know, elegant and aggressive at the same time. Imposing, I suppose, with these front shrouds. So I'm just digging the look of the motorcycle, like all the way up here while I came up here onto the mountain. Like I had a smile on my face while I was talking. And even like during the breaks, I was like, yeah, this is one motorcycle I can imagine having in my garage as well. This is definitely a shortlist bike. I'm trying to compare it to the CFMoto 450 MT. And, you know, both bikes are doing an amazing job. But, you know, myself, thinking about my budget, I mean, my logical answer is you obviously get the one that comes with the side panniers as well as the top case. On top of all the other extras, because why would I want to pay more, you know, for getting pretty much less? So I'm not even going to bring the European counterparts into the picture, just thinking of that. Like, simply as those are somewhat more expensive. If the badge is important for you, definitely, yeah, go ahead, get the BMW. It's not like I'm looking to convince you here. It's just, I'm surprised myself about the whole package that we're getting here. Don't get me wrong, a few years ago you couldn't get anything like this, right? You couldn't get one motorcycle that came with the entire setup. You can get the bike basically right out the door and ride down to Greece or something, because you have everything you need for a long trip. Mind you, 1,000 kilometers, 600 mile service, change oil filter. So if you have dealers along the way, then, you know, you're fine. And some people may be worried about that, like dealer network. I guess it depends on what countries you plan on riding in, but with the 450, I'm guessing you're not looking to ride around the world.
So if the bike is available on your market or in your market, if it's, you know, if you're in the UK, you can probably ride out all the way up to Scotland, and you'll still find dealers that do have all your parts, you know, in stock, and they'll be able to service your bike. But if you are looking to ride to Mongolia, I don't know why I took Mongolia as an example here, but yeah, odds are any country that doesn't have, you know, QJ yet, it's obviously not ideal. But for Romania, for instance, if you want to do road book adventure, which is a nice rally race here in the country around these mountains, by the way, or Red Bull Romaniacs, the adventure category, I mean, I'd honestly rather go with this one rather than the MT450, even though I'm still a fan of that bike. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm dissing it. Both bikes are awesome at the end of the day. This one just comes with a better package. It's that simple. And both have kind of like, I prefer something over the other one. Like, and I prefer the look of the QJMotor. I thought I wouldn't, but I really am liking this look. And I did say, albeit, like, I prefer the white color, but the red one is growing on me, so we'll see how that works out over time. But just the simple stuff, it's not exactly that simple, but Brembo brakes. You know, you can't get that on a lot of European bikes. My Husqvarna has J1s, as well as the CFMotos, as well as the suspension. You know, it's well known, it's Marzocchi, it's adjustable. I don't know, like, myself, for instance, I've only adjusted it once after my weight. The way I found it to be comfortable, and I'm just riding that, like, I haven't really touched it in recent months, but just the idea that you can just set it up after your weight is already a big plus. And mind you, like, I weigh like 100 plus kilograms, 105 kilos, somewhere around there. With the current setup, you know, it's dealing with my weight really easily. It looks good. Let me just give this a try. I know that the bike has hazards. The lights, the normal headlights on the bike already look good. Auxiliary lights, I don't know where you turn those on from. I think it's these. Yeah, there we go. So now we have those turned on as well. Yeah, man, I'm digging this look. I like the golden rims, the spokes that go all the way to the edge of the rim as well. Not sure if I mentioned it, an 18-liter fuel tank. My Husqvarna 901 has 19 liters. What are we talking about? And you know, you'd think that the bike is top heavy for having the gas tank up here. It's not something I felt, but you know, I haven't been in racing conditions. I'll let you know. The plan is to participate in the Roadbook Adventure Challenge. This may be the bike that I am gonna ride with, and obviously I'll have a lot more info on the motorcycle then, and you know, I'll do a video on that and I'll follow up. If you do want to see those videos, do not forget to subscribe. As I said, I also want to test some other QJMotor models because I'm curious about this brand. Like, I'm liking the look. As long as they're coming with these types of setups, because these do not feel cheap, man. That's the whole thing. It's one thing to say, okay, you're getting something Chinese and it's quite crap. It's not the case. Like, it feels sturdy. You've got the pillow here, by the way. I think it was removed, but that's also something that comes directly with the bike. You glue it on here, it's great for the misses. So you've got that going on as well. That's something that costs about, I don't know, 90 or 70 euros on the Husqvarna. Maybe you get it for like 20 euros from AliExpress, but here it is included in the package. I can't tell you, you know, how comfortable it is in the back. I've seen some videos of people talking about that, and they were quite happy. Especially with the cases on, it is a lot more comfortable on here, especially if you have the pillow here. Yeah, that brings me to the part of who the bike is ideal for. And it's obviously, you know, great for the young guys. It's A2 category, so you can ride it with an A2 driver's license. But not exclusively. It's obviously great for elderly folk as well. Veterans, let's just call them veterans for short, simply because they're lightweight adventure bikes. Like, the other day I was testing the SRT 900 and I've had that small mishap where actually the bike slipped out from under me on the grass on a hillside, and I had to lift it up, and it does weigh like 270 kilos, I believe, and this is almost 100 kilos lighter. So if you've got problems with your back, if you are somewhat of a veteran, then obviously this is a nice bike to go on adventures with. But you know, any age category in between, I think that's why these 450 bikes are so successful. This lightweight adventure category is so successful because it caters to a huge audience. So small details like this case having these handles here, you can, you know, put your tent on here or sleeping bag or any other, you know, you can expand your luggage. As I said, it's adventure ready. I think that should be its slogan. But, you know, I'm digging this bike. I'm looking forward to riding it back into town. Yeah, let's hop on and keep going. I'll leave the navigation off just so we can kind of have an idea of what the dashboard is like. This is the button you go into the menu with. This is the enter button basically. So you press that, you're in the menu, and then with the lower button you're gonna go down. And you have a Bluetooth tire pressure monitoring system, you go into that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the bike does have the TPMS as well, just because I haven't seen it on the dash because of the navigation. So appearance, you can change that. Oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to this. Brightness, if I want to go back up to brightness or appearance, I have to scroll all the way down and do this thing. So that's not exactly ideal, but again, not a deal breaker because you're not gonna be spending too much time in the menu. But yeah, on the tire pressure monitoring system, it is measuring the temperature of the tires as well as the pressure. It is now in kilopascals. We use bars in Romania. You know, that can be changed. Let's see if we can change that ourselves. Pressure unit, yeah, there we go. And now we can see it in bars, 2 and 2.6 bars. Rear wheels got 2.6. Let's head on back where we came onto this poopy field. When you go off-road, you can just ride like a normal person and you know, the bike will deal with everything. You can even bring your top case as well as your side panniers that way, and the bike will be able to deal with it simply as the suspension is so plush. This is where we came from, this is where we're heading back.
Like the gear shift lever feels nice as well. It's solid on the shifts. Like we are now on low RPMs and uphill, by the way. You know, again, you gotta manage your expectations. A compromised motorcycle, meaning it's not gonna be perfect at on-road stuff and it's not gonna be perfect at off-road stuff either. So clutch feels super nice. Like it's really easy to, I don't know, it feels like a one finger clutch. And oh, the view, man. And I know that it's brand new and obviously like a new clutch will behave nice, but hey, not on all bikes. I'm enjoying everything just sitting here. I'm enjoying the layout of the cockpit. I like this tower in front of me. I've already mentioned I probably get a navigation unit separately so I can just enjoy the actual dash. The mirrors, I didn't test them, but they are foldable mirrors. They fold in, like if you are going off-road the way I just have, but if you are doing something gnarlier, you're basically going from one forest to the other one, you want to have your mirrors, but in the forest you probably will snap them in to make sure they don't break off or a branch doesn't take them off. Oh yeah, this is where we were earlier. The monastery. What a nice place out here. I'm impressed by the CST tires. I know those are the ones that come with the CFMoto as well, and I was already impressed with those. Like, they are doing a fascinating job as well on, hello kitties, off-road as well as on-road, especially on this loose gravel. That's when your Bosch electronics will come in, kick the traction control or ABS, and if you're doing some heavy braking on those, you got to be really careful where you're riding. But as I said, so far I'm insanely impressed by this bike, and you can play around with it. It's like a toy rather. The 900 feels more like a car in a weird way. You're not, it's obviously not a car, but it's a big bike, right? Like any big bike would feel like that. You can't take it off-road as easily. It's, you know, the closest bigger bike to this would be a Tenere 700. But honestly, at this point, if I were to choose between these two bikes and just riding in Romania or the UK, but over the Tenere, I'd get this. No questions asked on my side. Feel free to judge me on that. We all have our opinions, and I know there will still be diehard fans out there that will still hate on Chinese bikes, but simple things, small things. There, you've got USB-A as well as a USB-C. plug. I don't have that on my Husqvarna. I know the newer model does, but mine doesn't. And then there's the auxiliary lights. I'd love to test those in the dark, but from what I've seen online from others, you know, they are really good. But you do have the option of just, if you want more than that, then you do have the option of just installing additional lights. Denali, Lone Rider, or cheaper ones like Colite that I've tested and I have on my own Husqvarna. Right, and I don't know, like, if I've mentioned the heated seats as well as the heated grips, like where you turn them on from. You don't have to go into the menu, because I did say that that's one of the negatives. The menu that's a bit difficult to get around in, but the point is that there are buttons up front here to switch on the heated seats as well as the grips. Hi, kitty. And we'll try that in just a bit, but it will fry my butt probably. Let's see. What am I doing? What am I doing? You gotta know what you're pressing here, by the way. That's the grips, I believe. Yep, and it did light up there. Yep, and you can see 1, 2, 3. Like the numbers are there, so you can actually select how hot those should be. Same on the seats. Okay, like once you do it a couple of times, it's second nature here. So forget what I said earlier about knowing what you're pressing. But you have it, oh my, and I'm already feeling it. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man, that's too hot. I'm gonna leave it on for a bit just to see how hot it can get. These Brembos are doing a really good job. Let's test it a bit more downhill on the next turn. Let's see if the ABS comes on. Like, I'm not looking to crash, but let's see. I'm at 70k an hour. This was just the front brake. Doing an amazing job, man. Wow. Both the tires as well as the brakes are doing a good job. I haven't even touched the rear brake, by the way. I'm only testing the front brake here. And now I can lean into the corners a bit more. Oh, I was wondering why I'm so hot. I forgot the heating and both the grips as well as the seats. Obviously, if I am going to do the rally later on, then I will be able to test the bike in heavier conditions. I'll be fully geared up for a rally. So again, subscribe if you want to see videos on that. And these bikes are fun. Like, the fun factor of this thing is somewhere between a 9 and a 10. Because ultimately it's more fun than my personal motorcycle because it is light. It's a lightweight bike. You can throw it around. You can turn so easily. You can... It's just mental. Engine brake is solid as well. First gear. Sorry, I wanted to see or hear what it sounds like. But I'm not going to force it any more than that. We have it on camera. And it's working. Automatically I already want to stand up off of the bike. Just up on the pegs. Whenever I see potholes. Just because I'm already getting used to the bike, and I'm so impressed with the fact, okay, braked while I went into those potholes, like some really nasty potholes there, and I did feel the ABS kick in, so the front wheel didn't lock up. That is very good to know. That was an unintentional test. And these are the times when electronics do come in really handy, because if it does lock up, even if you don't crash, you are going to cause quite a bit of damage to your wheels. That bash plate is coming in handy. Oh yeah, one thing I did want to mention about the bash plate. It's similar to what you get on the CFMoto 450 MT. Something you really got to be careful about there is, because it's similar to what you get on the CFMoto, we already have the data that if you are doing a lot of off-roading in the forest, dry leaves and stuff will kick up and they will end up in your bash plate. Now couple that with a hot muffler, and you see where this is going, right? Like, you don't want to end up with a motorcycle that's on fire. So I don't know if QJMotor is selling any aftermarket stuff that you can mount on there, or if there's anything on AliExpress. But if I were to buy one of these toys, that would be the first upgrade that I do to it. So I quickly wanted to summarize the negatives. That being somewhat difficult to use the screen mirroring thing with the app and all of it. It can also be deemed as an advantage because on the one hand you actually have that, which you don't have on a lot of motorcycles. The other thing is the buttons. Here when accessing the menu, it is a bit of a pain to use. Only being able to go down, but again, not a deal breaker. The seat is a bit on the, I don't know, tougher side, I guess, but you know, it's not that bad. Like, I've been in the saddle now roughly for 6 hours on and off the bike, so I think it's understandable that I am gonna nag a bit about sitting, but at my height, at 185, this is actually comfortable. The way I'm sitting on this right now is comfortable for me. And I suppose these are the only negatives I can really think of. The wind protection is not something that would bother me personally on this bike, because I already have a bigger adventure bike. If I were to go touring, I'd probably take that, but just know, but then if you are looking to buy this bike to do, you know, proper tours, because you can, the bike is capable of doing that pretty easily, then just know that that's something you'll have to work on eventually or get used to. Maybe you can even change the seat if you really want to. I'm sure there are aftermarket options out there. But as this bike is right now stock, especially with the panniers and the top case, this is a hell of a bargain. Like, this was a fun day. This was one of my most fun reviews so far to do. Like, this was super enjoyable. I think this is a real winner. It just takes some time for people to actually hear about the bike, to find out about the brand, research it a little. I know CFMoto, for instance, has done this cool thing where it did invite people over, you know, that were, you know, users of the brand or the distributors or guys like this to visit the factory, see the production lines, just talk with them, get feedback as well from, you know, the European users as well as American ones. Maybe QJ Motors will do something like that too. If they do, and by some chance I get to make it there and actually see the factory, rest assured I will share it. That's not something I'm promising, but you know, make sure to subscribe. If it's something that I'll be able to pull off, you'll see it on the channel. So this is what I meant when I said that their navigation system is a bit fiddly. I had to stop on the side of the road, take my phone out, do all this stuff. But you know, for long distance stuff, if you have everything set up in advance, then you're fine. But if you're doing short stretches on the road, then I still recommend the external navigation unit. So, well guys, if you've enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like. If you want to see more moto content, you'll find it here. I'm Nimrod, and I'll see you in the next one.
That it's your chance to be ruthless.